Hello everyone, welcome back to our learning series. If you haven't watched our first video about Excel, please go and watch our first video. Since this is a roadmap to data analyst, it will be nice if you watch from the beginning. If you want, we will leave the link in the description. So here with me, Santosh. Hey Santosh, thank you for explaining in our previous video about Excel. So I'm here to ask you more about SQL. And okay, just giving a little bit of context. Let's say that I'm someone who wants to be a data analyst or someone who wants to get into data field. I just started learning the tools and things. I have learned Excel. Let's say I spent more or less 3 to 4 weeks to give myself a good introductory lessons in Excel. Now I'm slowly moving into SQL. What is something that I should do first?
If you learn Excel, if you have solved HackerRank, if you have solved lead code and all, right, one thing that you should additionally that will help you in the interview process, coming back from an interview process, is you should have some data projects that you have built using SQL. Okay. When we say SQL, it's not just about select star from a table, right? It's about how you can do a customer segmentation, how you can do a retention analysis, how you can do forecasting. All these things you can do in SQL. And you should have a data projects on each of these suite so that you will be, you can, people when they're interviewing you, they will be able to know, okay, this guy does not just know select star from, he knows to do complex analysis in SQL, which is an added advantage.
Okay, so when you say that I have to create a complicated analysis using different algorithms, where would I get the data to do such things? Because first of all, SQL needs a lot of data to play with. So is there any recommended place that you can, point me towards?
Yeah, there is Kaggle. Obviously, Kaggle itself has an in-house SQL editor tool, and it provides you with problem statements and questions and everything. For example, there is an house building recommendation, not building, it's basically house rent recommendation, a notebook which in SQL where you can start working on and do a forecasting on the prices and trends of houses. We'll share the link in the description below, but that is a good place to start with it. And they also have customer retention data. They also have forecasting data. You can do everything within Kaggle. You can just start opening a SQL editor and start running the queries.
Okay, maybe unlike Excel, in the previous video, it was a bit easy for us to explain our users about Excel because everyone at some point of their life, they might have came across Excel in school, colleges, or in some other sector. But SQL is something really unique. I'm pretty sure someone who never got into data or some other IT field might have never touched SQL. So for them, is there courses that that you would recommend, or do you want them to just deep dive into the projects and just get their hands dirty and then find your way through? What would you say first?
I would say stick to 3 tools that I always, every time I will focus only on these tools because see, SQL again is a tool or a technology that you can learn only by practicing again and again. It's not something that you can learn or read or watch a YouTube, right? You should definitely focus on SQL Zoo, HackerRank, and LeetCode. Treat it like a question mark problem, right? You go to SQL Zoo, you get 1 mark, 2 mark questions. You go to HackerRank, you get the 5 marks and 6 mark questions. You go to LeetCode, you get the 10 and 12 mark questions. So your brain should be in a process of solving things for at least 10, 12 days straight. Each day, 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour, where you spend and solve the questions. That's where or how you can learn.
Okay, and when I'm learning such things, if I'm someone who just got into HackerRank and then try to solve the problems there, I'm pretty sure I'll get stuck somewhere in between. So can I just would you recommend if I just go back and take a full-time course that there are a lot of paid courses online. So would you recommend me if I go and do a paid course and come back to HackerRank, or is there any way that I can get out of that situation without getting, without paying something?
I
Is there any?
don't believe, even if you get stuck or get a question, I don't believe that particular course that you're gonna spend, let's say 1,000 or 10,000 bucks is gonna answer you, right? Here, the only friend that you get is Google. You should know how to Google the error and you should know how to solve the error with the help of Google. Because when you go to a job and you go to a real work life scenario, right, the only thing that helps you is Google. Obviously, if you have a problem statement, if you come up with a problem, you go to it, you search the answers for that problem and try to come up with the solution. That's the every analyst or every software engineer's friend is Google and obviously Stack Overflow.
Okay. And let's say I'm someone who kind of at the moment got confident with Google, but maybe I also got spoiled with ChatGPT. You know how easy it is for me to just build a query with ChatGPT. It's like I'm someone who's trying to learn basic arithmetics in math, so I'm just trying to learn how to add and subtract. But also, I got a calculator in my hand who do the job, who's going to do the job exactly for me. So do you think it will be enough if I just kind of use ChatGPT and kind of know how to use ChatGPT and get into data analytics field with this Excel knowledge and SQL knowledge? Or do you want me to do the hard coding?
So you should always do the hard coding because
Will
let's say now ChatGPT is there, but in future ChatGPT might not be there, right? And especially when you're a fresher, when you're starting in the company, 1 or 2 or 3 years into the company, what is expected from you is not someone who's very easily able to go to ChatGPT and solve problem. That is what is expected, and that's not how you will grow in the business also. You have to use your brain. You have to come up with the solution of your own. Obviously, you can use it as a friend. You can use it as a way to solve little things. But when a business problem comes to you, even ChatGPT is not trained to answer those things. It's your experience that will help you to answer those things, right? So I would not say use ChatGPT for its 100% efficiency. Maybe use it for a 10-20%.
Okay, let's go. I mean, I totally agree with you. I just don't want to sound like a boomer who don't want to accept the new technology. But yeah, that I totally agree. Everyone should do a hard coding, or at least they should know how to do the hard coding. Then they can have the support from ChatGPT. So then moving on from that, Excel is something that everyone got in their personal computer, or everyone, and it's something very easy for someone to just get access to and then practice it. But SQL is not something that everyone got it in their PC. They don't have a SQL server setup, or they might not have it in their PC. What would you recommend?
See, there are, it's not actually, it's a counterintuitive thing to, if you ask me, because now you don't need a SQL workbench to work on SQL. Obviously, if you say they don't have data, it's obviously they don't have customer data, they will not have e-commerce data, they will not have a real-time live data. But you go to W3 schools, you get enough data to work on. You go to Kaggle, you get bunch of real-time data also there. You can download it. It's up to you, right? It's the person's creative ability on how he or she is going to code it. You can do SQL and Notepad++. It's just that you can't run it, you can't prompt it, you can't get the result. But you can physically code in Notepad++. Right?
Yep, yeah.
So you can build your logic on Notepad++. So even in interviews, right? You go for an interview, they're not going to give you a workbench and all, right? In front of you and say you code it from this table. They will tell you a table exists, a column exists. This is the problem statement. You do it on Notepad++. I will find out whether you know SQL or not. So that's what you should train up.
Okay, and let's say that I'm doing such things. I'm just continue to solve the problems in HackerRank or LeetCode, and then they just keep doing it for like 3 to 4 weeks. Do you think that will give me some confidence to sit in an interview? Because I don't know exactly what the interviewers are gonna ask me. So is it fair for me to just do these solve these? These are hypothetical problems. We don't. As a fresher, I'm not sure if these are the real world problems. So after solving like 4 weeks of HackerRank or something, can I just sit in an interview and hoping to get something out of it, or what would happen?
So from an interviewer's perspective, right, they are not looking at you to solve problems. To be honest, if you ask me, find hiring someone junior to me, I'm not looking at him whether he'll be able to give me the exact solution. No. What I want to check with him is whether he has the confidence to code, whether whether he panics when he sees something. Because as a junior analyst, what will happen is you will be bombarded with ad-hocs. You will be bombarded with work. I will give you 10 questions in the morning, 5 questions in the afternoon, 3 questions in the evening, asking you to solve and give me data. Now, in the interview, that's what I will check. When I give him 12, 20, 30 questions that you have to solve within 30 minutes, I would first observe whether he's panicking, whether he's able to prioritize. So these are the things that are looked upon even in a SQL interview, right? Okay. So you should definitely practice. When you practice on HackerRank, when you practice on LeetCode, the panic factor will go away when you sit in the interview. That is very important. That's why if you haven't worked on any of this HackerRank, LeetCode, if you go to an interview, you will be having that shock factor when you see a query. But if you have worked on it, it will be like, okay, just another question. I already have solved 20, 30 questions. Your brain will be adapted. That's what I would say.
Okay, and also for someone who never had any IT experience or any programming experience, in the previous video, it was easy for us to explain Excel because Excel is okay. Even though you can do Excel programming kind of a way in Excel, but it also got a UI to just select functions. You can kind of use Excel just by choosing things and finding things in the UI. But SQL is not something like that. SQL is kind of looking like a programming language. It's not a programming language that you create that you use to create apps or websites, but for someone who never did anything in any programming language except, let's say, in a 12th grade, I did C++ program to add to variables. But apart from that, I have zero experience in programming. Do you think it is possible for someone to learn SQL, let's say, in a matter of 6 weeks?
Yes, matter of 6 weeks is more than enough. Personal
Okay.
experience, I learned SQL in a matter of like 2 months, which is obviously more than 6 weeks. But again, I didn't do any courses. I didn't overlearn anything. I have the same 3 websites that I follow religiously. Even today, even to my Amazon interviews, I follow those 3 websites religiously. So just don't get clouded on the information available in the internet. Just focus on, have a sharp list of websites, have a sharp list of work that you want to do, and practice, practice, practice. That 6 weeks is more than enough if you're spending 1 hour per day.
Okay. So, just to recap on what we discussed in the first video, we mentioned to spend somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks on Excel to develop their Excel skills and then get confident in that. And then the next step for someone would be to spend around 4 to 6 weeks once again on SQL. Of course, guys, we are not specifically asking you to spend 4 to 6 weeks. It depends on everyone's learning capacity, the time that you can spend, and the amount of exposure that you got. But Santosh, so just to summarize, do you think this, let's say around 2 to 3 months, would be enough for someone to start from zero to get into some certain degree of confidence in Excel and SQL to do some data analytics?
Yeah, man. That's the reason for creating the series, right? How we went from
Yeah,
Excel out to SQL, then we'll go to another tools. The main reason for creating is to create awareness that you don't need to spend money on courses. You don't need a seven,
for
eight
sure.
months to boot camp and all this. 3 months is more than enough if you're willing to spend 1 to 2 hours per day on each of the tools.
Okay, fair enough. And also, just slightly to look back into your past, did you follow the same? Did you take exactly around, because for SQL you mentioned that you took around 2 months, but how about Excel? Did you take, let's say, 6 weeks, or was it more than that, less than that?
Excel was on the go, man. I never
Okay.
had to learn anything. It was on the job learning.
Mhm.
Even now on the job learning. It's never I never an expert I got. You will learn it all the
Okay, good, cool. That's good. So we had a touch on Excel, we had a touch on SQL. So where is our next stop? What do you think? Someone should learn after Excel and SQL.
I would say there is Power BI, there is Python, but
Mhm.
there are some little factor that we are overlooking, that is the communication and critical thinking part. I think
Mhm.
since we covered 2 tools on tech stack, we should cover 2 tools on non-tech stack, which is very
Okay,
crucial
fair
for
enough.
business analysts. So I think we should focus on the communication and critical thinking part.
Okay, yeah. That would be a fair point. Instead of getting deep into just on tech part, let's touch
Yeah.
on this and that. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. We will make another video on the series, touching more on non-tech stuff to be a business or a data analyst. So hope you like this kind of video. Please do like and subscribe. Share this content to someone who's interested in being a data analyst or business analyst in future. Join us in the journey of learning more about data. And thank you very much. Thank you, Santosh.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.